The courtroom thought it had seen drama before, but trust me, they weren't prepared for Malaysia Pargo to drop the truth bomb she had in store. The room went dead silent as Malaysia stood up, cool as ice, with that chilling, almost sinister half-smile creeping across her lips. She locked eyes with the judge and said, "Your Honor, I have one more truth to unveil. Let's stop playing pretend." The judge nodded. And then, boom, Doug Christie's voice coming straight from his jail cell flooded the room like toxic gas. "Let Jackie think whatever she wants. She's always been my cover. The real game, it was always mine, and I played it in the dark." You could feel the temperature drop. Gasps echoed through the room. Reporters fumbled with their pens. Even the bailiff's jaw dropped, but it wasn't over. Oh no, Malaysia hit play again, and this time it was Doug whispering to his secret mistress. "Once I get Jackie's money, it's just you and me, babe. We disappear." That's when Jackie Christie lost it. She stood up, eyes blazing, fists clenched. "You used me, you lied under my roof. My marriage, my life, it was all a scam." She slammed the desk so hard, the microphones rattled. This wasn't a breakdown. People, it was a war cry, and Malaysia, she didn't flinch. In that moment, she didn't just expose a man, she brought his entire empire crashing down. The world was watching, and Doug, he wasn't just behind bars. Anymore, he was on fire. The courtroom was reeling. Just as the judge called for a recess, expecting things to cool down, Malaysia Pargo stepped forward. Still calm on the outside, but you could practically see the storm brewing behind her eyes. She wasn't here to play fair. She was here to scorch the earth. And when she locked eyes with the judge again and said, "Permission to present new evidence," nobody saw it coming. The judge barely nodded and Malaysia whipped out her phone. "Put it on speaker," the prosecutor ordered, sensing something massive. A click, some static, and then Doug Christie's voice talking like he was untouchable. "You know, Jackie's just a brand. A front? I never loved her. She was just my cover. She gave me X's fame, money, networks. But the real moves, those I made with you, babe." The room went ice cold. Gasps filled the air. Reporters fumbling with their recorders and the court stenographer's hands shook. But it was Jackie Christie's face tight, frozen in horror that silenced the room like nothing else. Malaysia shot her a look, cold, almost pitying. Then she hit play again. "Doug," his voice crackled. "She thinks I'm coming back for her. Hell no. Once the check clears, I'm gone. She can keep the wife title, but that bank account, it's mine." The courtroom was now a ticking time bomb. Jackie shot up, fists clenched, jaw trembling. "You." She tried to scream, but only rage, silent and blistering, came out. Doug's voice continued, uglier this time. "You know how I keep her quiet. I feed her lies, give her little promises, fake tears. She loves drama, so I give her a script." Malaysia didn't even flinch. She clicked to the next file, a new voice. Doug again. But now he's laughing with someone, a woman. He calls her babe, telling her to hang tight. Jackie's crying again. "Must have read that fake birthday card I wrote. Told her I miss her. Meanwhile, I'm laying up with you, that did it." Jackie snapped. She charged toward Malaysia, but security struggled to hold her back. "You lying snake?" Jackie screamed, her face twisted in betrayal. "You manipulated me. You played me, you used me." But Malaysia? She stood there, ice in her veins. "Calm," calculated her reply. It cut like a razor. "No, Jackie, he used all of us. I just finally stopped pretending." The judge slammed his gavel, yelling for order, but it was too late. The courtroom had turned into a war zone of lies and humiliation. Doug Christie, once the poster child for loyalty, the perfect husband, was now exposed for what he truly was, a two-faced manipulator, who weaponized love and trust to build his empire of deceit. The kingdom of deceit was crumbling fast. Malaysia Pargo's evidence didn't end with the explosive jailhouse calls. She pulled out a stack of transaction receipts, payments made from Jackie's business accounts to a private account under a name no one recognized, Christina Maddox. But Malaysia wasn't done. She zoomed in on a photo and bam, it was the same woman from Doug's calls. "Your husband's been funneling your money to his mistress," she said, stone-faced. "And he used your company credit card to pay for her new car." That was it. Jackie collapsed into her chair, trembling. Outside, reporters were already tweeting. Breaking. Malaysia Pargo drops audio proof of Doug Christie's betrayal, funds, mistresses, and lies exposed. The judge shot a glare at Malaysia. "Are there more recordings?" he asked. Malaysia nodded. 12 more. 2 of which showed Doug discussing how to hide assets from Jackie before the divorce even began. Jackie stood up again, this time not to scream but to speak. Her voice cracked, hollowed by fury. "You made me give up everything for you. My career, my name, I was loyal, blind. And you. You were writing love letters to another woman while sitting in jail, but Malaysia wasn't done. She handed the court clerk a printed transcript. Doug Christie's prison confession captured during a monitored phone call, where he admitted to staging the rehab story, faking emotional relapses, and planting rumors to control Jackie's public image. He knew the fans loved to come back, Malaysia explained, so he gave them one, even if it meant destroying Jackie piece by piece. The judge had no choice but to adjourn the session early, citing emotional overload and safety concerns. But outside the courthouse, Malaysia was just getting started. Cameras flashed as she stepped up to the podium, not as a reality star, but as a woman who had finally found her voice. "I didn't do this to destroy Jackie," she said, her tone steady but sharp. "I did this because she deserves to know the truth. Doug isn't a man, he's a shadow, a user. And today, that shadow got dragged into the light. The internet, it exploded. Clips of the jail calls hit TikTok within hours. Doug's voice, 'She was just my cover,' racked up 5 million views in one night. Even Tamer Braxton weighed in. I knew something was off with him. Doug, prayers for Jackie. Chilly. Even VH1 couldn't stay out of it, posting a cryptic tweet. Some truths are louder than fiction. Jackie, shattered, but somehow still standing, released a brief statement that night. I may have loved a lie, but I will never again be silent for it. But the real bombshell came the next morning when Doug's attorney tried to call Malaysia to get her to stop releasing tapes. Guess what? Malaysia posted the call log to Instagram, captioned, "Too late, the world deserves to hear it all." And the world, oh, it was listening, and it was done with Doug Christie. By the next morning, Jackie's face was everywhere. News tickers ran headlines like "Jackie Christie betrayed and Malaysia drops bombshell tapes." TMZ had already stitched together a supercut of Doug's worst moments from those audio clips. And the blogs. Oh, they were going hard. But while the world was still reeling, Malaysia wasn't done. She showed up to court again. No tears, no emotion, just fire in her eyes and more evidence in her purse. And this time she didn't come alone. Walking 3 steps behind her was a tall woman in a black trench coat and dark shades. No one recognized her at first, but when she pulled back her hood, gasps filled the room. It was Chantal Christie, Jackie's daughter, the daughter who had vanished from the spotlight after being caught in the middle of her mother and Doug's toxic mess. The daughter who had stayed silent for years but not anymore. Chantal took the witness stand, pulled off her glasses and dropped a truth bomb that made Jackie crumble in her chair. "I don't believe Doug is my father." The courtroom went wild. Jackie's head snapped up, her lips trembling. What? What did you just say?" But Chantal wasn't here to sugarcoat. She was here to burn. "I've known for years. I overheard you and Annie talking about it when I was 14. You said Doug doesn't need to know the truth. He already treats me better than my real father ever did." Dead silence. Not a pen moved, not a breath was taken. Chantal's voice cracked, but her words kept coming. "And when I asked you about it, you slapped me and told me never to bring it up again. So I didn't. I stayed quiet while Doug paraded around like some savior, while you pretended we were this perfect family. And now, look at us, torn apart because of secrets you chose to bury." Jackie tried to stand, voice breaking. Please, not here." "No," Chantal snapped, cutting through the tension. "You don't get to ask for silence now. You don't get to protect the lie after it's already destroyed us." The judge tried to intervene, but it was too late. The dam had broken. Chantal wasn't stopping. Her voice shook, but it rang out, strong and clear. "I took a DNA test 6 months ago. I matched with a man named Harold Skinner, and guess what? He had a brief relationship with you in the summer of '98. Sound familiar?" Jackie's eyes welled with tears. "That was before Doug and I got serious." Chantal laughed, but it was hollow, empty. "Exactly. And that's when I happened. But you couldn't handle the truth, could you? So you gave Doug the father role and buried everything else. You robbed me of my identity just to keep up your brand." Social media erupted. Hashtag Chantal Christie started trending in under 10 minutes. The comments section exploded. Wait, so Doug raised a daughter that wasn't even his? Jackie has been hiding the truth from everyone ever in her own child. Malaysia and Chantal had just demolished a legacy in 24 hours flat. But the real hammer hadn't dropped yet. Malaysia.com, as ever, reached into her file and pulled. "You're broke, betrayed, and exposed. All because you couldn't stop controlling the narrative." Jackie tried to speak, but her voice was gone. The judge ended the session abruptly, declaring the courtroom a legal disaster zone and warning everyone to prepare for federal investigations into document tampering and financial fraud. Chantal, unbothered, walked straight out of the courtroom, past the paparazzi and into a waiting car. Malaysia followed. No tears, no drama, just a quiet nod to the chaos she had left behind. By the end of the day, VH1 had suspended all episodes involving Jackie Christie. Sponsors pulled out. Brands distanced themselves. Doug's bail hearing was denied. And Jackie, she went home to a house she no longer owned, a house legally transferred to Doug, 6 months before the divorce was even filed. This wasn't just betrayal. This was calculated, strategic destruction. Doug had played the long game and Jackie lost everything. For 3 days, she didn't speak to anyone, not her publicist, not her legal team, not even her so-called best friends in the industry. The ones who used to tag her in every red carpet post and repost her cooking videos like she was royalty. Now, they ghosted her like she had the plague. Her phone had turned into a graveyard of missed calls and cold texts, and the final nail in the coffin: a letter from VH1 delivered to her gate. Effective immediately, all future production involving Jackie Christie is cancelled, hereby terminated. The words echoed through the room. Any attempts to re-enter the premises of VH1 studios will be treated as trespassing. Trespassing. The same woman who had built the ratings, the same woman who'd served drama on a silver platter for over a decade, had just been erased. But Malaysia? She wasn't done yet. The very next morning, she stood at the same courthouse steps Jackie used to strut across like a queen, dropping a live press statement so savage, so bulletproof that even Jackie's lawyers didn't know how to respond. Jackie Christie thought she could control the narrative. She thought she could manipulate people and hide behind fame and edited clips. But what she couldn't control was the truth. And now, the truth had exposed her like a bad facelift under the sun. The crowd outside the courthouse went wild. Some screamed, some clapped, and some just stood there, jaws dropped. Malaysia, continued her bombshell. She drugged her husband, lied to her daughter, manipulated her friends and, worst of all, she tried to erase my voice when I finally decided to speak. The press started shouting questions. But Malaysia didn't flinch. She didn't just destroy Doug, she destroyed Chantel. She made her question her entire identity. She used trauma like a marketing tool, and now she was calling it out. I refuse to let women like that keep hiding behind glam squads and green screens. Inside the courthouse, Jackie watched the entire thing unfold on live feed. Her hands trembled, her nails chewed down to the skin. She thought Malaysia would stop. She thought the courtroom chaos would be enough. But Malaysia, she was just getting started. Later that evening, the internet was rocked by the leak of a private therapy session. Jackie, sitting across from a marriage counselor, unknowingly recorded saying, "Sometimes you have to create a crisis to control the outcome. If Doug has to be the villain, then so be it." The backlash was swift and brutal. Jackie had manipulated therapy to make Doug the monster. What she didn't need was a divorce. She needed a lifetime ban. The next day, Doug's ex-girlfriend from 2005, Regina Hayes, stepped forward with her own story. Apparently, she and Doug had briefly rekindled their relationship during a separation period. And guess who showed up uninvited at her house with a camcorder and a fake police letter? Jackie. Regina's statement was chilling. She'd always been obsessed with controlling every man in her life, even if it meant stalking, lying, or faking a mental health crisis. Doug never stood a chance. What started as a simple custody battle quickly morphed into a multi-layered legal war. Allegations of drugging, fraudulent therapy claims, invasion of privacy, media manipulation, financial fraud, perjury. The case exploded, and the judge, he wasn't playing. He declared a judicial emergency, ordering a full forensic audit of Jackie's finances, property history, and PR firm activity over the past 5 years. Her accounts were frozen, her assets locked, and the weapon she had used most, her carefully curated public image, shattered into dust. But the real showdown didn't happen in Quartet. Happened in a dark hallway behind the press room, away from the cameras and reporters. Jackie and Malaysia came face to face. "Jackie, was all this really worth it to you? Humiliating me like this?" Malaysia asked. "You humiliated yourself," Malaysia snapped. "I just gave the world the receipts." Jackie stepped forward, her voice trembling. "You don't understand what I've had to survive, what I've had to build just to stay visible in this industry." Malaysia didn't flinch. Her tone remained cold, unwavering. She leaned in and delivered the final blow. "You were never building a legacy, Jackie. You were building a prison, and now you're locked inside it." Jackie's breath caught. Her mouth opened, then closed. No defense, no witty comeback. No spin, just silence. Because, in that moment, the truth had caught up with her, and it hit harder than any storyline she had ever created. By the end of the week, Doug officially filed for a restraining order. Chantel legally changed her last name. VH1 replaced Jackie's face on all promotional material with Malaysia's. And just like that, Jackie's brand collaborations were pulled one by one, in a tidal wave of cancellations. And just when it couldn't get any worse, a full criminal probe into Jackie's use of unauthorized medication kicked off. From Queenan to cautionary tale, the Jackie Christie empire crumbled under the weight of its own lies in Malaysia. She didn't throw a victory party, no petty Instagram captions. She simply walked away, like a woman who knew the war was over. And she had come out on top, so now the truth is out. No more spin, no more reality TV cups, no more staged apologies behind glam makeup and designer tears. What just went down in that courtroom wasn't some minor plot twist, it was a full-blown demolition of everything Jackie Christie thought she controlled. Doug's jailhouse calls. They weren't just gossip, they were confessions. Confessions. That sliced through Jackie's carefully crafted image like a razor. She was just a cover for my career. Really, Doug? You used her, manipulated her, and strung her along, all while whispering sweet lies to another woman behind bars. And Jackie. She didn't break from heartbreak. No, her empire of ego finally collapsed. She wasn't betrayed. She was exposed. In Malaysia Pargo, she didn't just drop receipts, she dropped justice. For every woman silenced in the name of a brand, for every truth buried under red carpet appearances and fake healing retreats, Malaysia came for blood and she got it. This wasn't just a scandal. This was a reckoning. So now it's your move. What side are you on? Are you riding with the exposed or the exposers? Are you here for damage control or the raw, unfiltered truth? Drop your thoughts in the comments, blow it up, call it out. And if you want more of this explosive fire, hit that subscribe button. Smash that bell icon because over here, we don't tell stories to protect the guilty. We tear the mask off and let the world watch them burn.